Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Jesse Urquhart from Lock Haven in Pennsylvania. Welcome, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. As I said, I'm rocking and rolling with the PSAC schools. I mean, it is it's one of those just tough, solid Division II conferences, top to bottom. Um, so you just jumped on board end of May, I guess, to take the
Yep.
helm. So what was it like coming in kind of right at that point in terms of the recruits that you had coming in for 24? And then how has it been looking at 25s? Have you started 26s at all? Kind of what do you see your timeline moving forward?
Yeah. For coming in at the end of this semester, really started this summer. I wasn't necessarily, and this goes to my recruiting philosophy that I'm sure we'll talk about later. I wasn't necessarily going to rock the boat. My goal for the players that are here, the kids that are incoming, previously committed 2024s. I like to think they chose Lock Haven because it's the best fit for them. It's going to provide the experience they're looking for. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that, you know, I help develop them as players and as people. I mean, got a big roster of 27, but 11 of them are either grad students or seniors. So I look at it as an opportunity in 25 to bring in 10 to 12 players. So I feel like I'm a little behind on the 2025s, but again, I want to make sure that I find people who want to be here because it's the best fit for them. We can provide the experience that they're looking for. They fit my vision for the program, so I don't want to rush that process. And yeah, I'm starting to have conversations with some of our 26s, but my primary focus is our 25s and honestly continue to get to know the current players.
Sure. No, it's always you got to know who's on the field first before the ones that might be on the field later on.
Yes.
Um, so when it comes to finding players, 25s, 26s, whatever, are there specific events you like to go to, places you want to make sure you're at?
Yeah. Um, I think there's a lot of good players clubs within our region, within a couple hours of the campus, whether it's going west to Pittsburgh, east to Philadelphia, Jersey, Delaware. So there are a handful of events that I like to attend, but I'm big on camps, clinics, and everywhere that I've been in my 16 years in college soccer, a large majority of the players that I've coached and I've recruited have been to campus, have been able to not only play on campus, but we've been able to work with them in those training sessions during camps and clinics. Yeah, there's a combination of, yeah, we certainly invest time in the people who reach out to us as a program to express an interest. But I also do my due diligence, whether it's online, in person, trying to find players who I think fit certain roles or positions that we're looking to either specifically recruit or improve.
Okay. Well, in terms of camps, I feel like there's been a whole lot of chatter on social media about ID camps, and how many you should go to, what age you should be, should you make sure you have a relationship with the coach before you step foot at a camp. Kind of just give me your perspective on I guess all of those things, and then kind of tell me a little bit about, you know, maybe obviously you haven't had any yet, but historically, do you find a player do you find players from camps that just weren't on your radar before?
Yeah. As the head coach here, I have a graduate assistant. We don't have a staff of four people, three people. So I have to use my time, my resources wisely. Yeah, in the summers, I like to, do as much as I can in the camp realm, whether it's hosting or joining other programs. But if I'm in a camp with 300 people, I mean, it's a great experience, but how many of those players do I actually get to see perform? I might turn my head to a field and someone scores a worldie or keeper makes a phenomenal save. Maybe that was their only good moment of the camp, right? So by coming to, our camp or clinic, yeah, I want to make them first and foremost affordable for families. We had one 2 weeks ago, August 3rd. I think it was $30. It's truly an opportunity for those 40 participants to get to see campus. I invite other coaches from local colleges to attend as well, because the reality is of those 40 players, we may be only recruiting or interested in 10, 15, 20 of them. So I want to also be able to provide them an opportunity to play in front of other coaches who maybe say, you know what, you're not ready or prepared for this level, but here's some other coaches whose programs levels that maybe better suit your abilities to have a great college soccer experience. Um, I see value in all sorts of camps and clinics. I don't think there's any one right way to do it. I just try to, if it's a Lock Haven camp or clinic, I try to set it up so that it provides the players participating an opportunity to get to know me as a coach, showcase their abilities. One of the things that I like to do right off the bat is we show up after brief introductions, you warm up, and then we're into 11s. We're playing versus let's do all this small sided stuff at the beginning of camp. You're on your feet for 2, 3, 4 hours, and then play 11s at the end of the day. Um, Pros and cons to doing it various ways, but yeah, there's certainly, we talked about 2025s earlier. Had a handful of 2025s, and I've, been busy all week with phone calls, emails, following up to provide evaluations, recruiting from that pool. So there is certainly value in them, especially for not just Lock Haven, but other colleges who maybe don't have the resources to fly coast to coast.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in terms of whether it's at a camp or at a tournament or whatever it is, what is it that you're looking for in a player? What is it that attracts you to someone, whether that's on the field stuff or off the field stuff?
Yeah, I say this to all the players, whether current players, recruits, former club players that I've coached. I look for hard work and problem solvers. And a couple of the conversations I've had following our camp um, relates specifically to that, right? You show up to a camp where you're placed on a team with 10 players that you probably don't know, and you're asked to play 11 aside and showcase your abilities. You have to work hard, but you also have to solve problems. I got to figure out as a center back, what can my left back do? What can my other center back do? Is my goalkeeper able to play with her feet? What's her technical ability like? We had one center back at our camp who we're currently, talking to, hoping to recruit, hoping she'll commit. And one of the first things I noticed when she hopped on the field is she's looking around, pointing at people, getting names. And then once we started playing, she's already organizing things. I love that. I love the fact that she's work, working hard vocally to solve problems, to figure out who the players were. And as the games went on, she took more of a leadership role within that team. And I saw how it affected some of the other players playing around her. And so it's the same thing for whether you're a center mid, center forward, you're working hard to solve problems. And those problems can be, I'm having trouble beating my defender, or I'm making all these movements, but I'm not getting the ball. It's easy as coaches, as players, to point out all the problems, all the issues that we're having. I look for people who try to solve those problems.
Okay, awesome. Well, one of the things that has blown up over the last couple years and is poised to blow up even more with potential new NCAA regulations is the transfer
Mhm.
portal. So as a tough Division II conference and program in there, do you guys look at the transfer portal at all to maybe look at some of those D1 kids who didn't quite maybe find the right fit on the first go around, or is that something you guys tend not to look too much at?
It varies. Uh, a couple years ago, I know I was looking certainly looking for players that can help contribute to the team, but it's also looking at, hey, do I know anyone from, you know, previous colleges, previous club players that I might have coached or worked with? Um, there's pros and cons to the portal. I personally won't spend a ton of time in the portal. Um, yeah, I'll take a look every now and again, but I think there's so much effort that has to go into the portal to get a player that may only have a year or two left of eligibility. Um, there's always backstories that I think we may not know about as to why that player might be transferring. Um, and again, every situation is unique, and I don't want to sound pessimistic, but if that player is leaving for a number of reasons, legitimate or otherwise. Um, what are the chances that that player is going to come here and then want to leave again? I like to think if I do my homework and due diligence in the recruiting process, that I'll be able to find people who want to be here for 4 years, and that I won't have to necessarily go into the portal.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. I'm sure there's some folks out there not familiar with Lock Haven. So you've been there now for a few months, but what is it that attracted you to Lock Haven? What have you found there that you didn't know about that's awesome? Maybe some things we wouldn't even know by going through the website.
Yeah. The big one for me is the people and the community. Um, I've never been personally a fan of the bigger colleges where I feel like I'm in a city. I'm walking a mile or two to get from building to building. I like to think I'm a people person. I enjoy having conversations. I enjoy experiences as a whole. And so and when I first kind of stepped on the campus, as I got to meet people, sitting down in front of the players, I mean, I'm pretty sure every single returning player attended the interview portion, their Q&A portion of my interview, and I thought clearly they're invested. Even though they were getting ready for finals that week, they still took time to grill me for a little more than an hour. Yeah, it's a campus that has somewhere around 3,000 students. Smaller downtown that has a bunch of mom and pop shops. I mean, last night it was a gorgeous night. I walked around town for an hour or two. It's around campus. There's quite a few things to do if you enjoy the outdoors. I'm looking forward to when the Little League World Series gets going because Williamsport is about 30 minutes away from us here. So if someone's looking for a college that certainly is a little smaller but doesn't feel like high school, as I like to say. If you're looking to be involved in a campus that is really embraced by the community and vice versa, then this is the place for you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, one of the hardest things for especially new students coming into college and playing soccer is really striking that balance between academics and athletics and making sure their time and everything is divided appropriately as they try to be successful in both places. So I know you really haven't been there while school's been on yet, but um, talk to me about how you see your students really making sure they balance both sides of that coin and maybe what support services does the school offer to help them in that?
Yeah. Um, for me, the finding the right balance for the individual goes back to the recruiting process. I talk briefly about at this level. I spent a number of years, coaching in Division 3, and one of the big differences from a commitment level is our springs. Our springs, we are together a lot more. We're doing a lot more, soccer related activities than when I was there was 16 days of team training in the spring. Now it's 24. And so I say you have to really enjoy not just soccer, but being around your team, being responsible um, for how your attitudes and actions affect the team, the program. And so for players that think, oh, I love soccer, but I don't necessarily want to do it as much in the spring. I don't necessarily want to be as competitive as maybe some of my teammates, my peers, then maybe this isn't the best place. This isn't the level for you. So I like to think that through the recruiting process, we identify players who want to be involved in soccer and the program, you know, 8, 9 months out of the year. Obviously, their summers or kind of their downtime while preparing for the fall. Um, on campus, I say this all the time. Like my goal, as much as I hate losing more than I like winning, but my goal isn't to prepare these players to go play in the NWSL or go play for Barcelona City. The goal is to provide an exceptional playing experience while preparing them for life after college, whether that's in, you know, nursing, a number of health science programs that we offer, um, business, law. So I have to, as a coach, make sure that, you know, I prepare them with schedules in advance. Um, I often over explain things, and I've already apologized to the team once or twice about that. That I want to make sure that what we're doing, why we're doing it, is understood by the individuals in the collective group. Because I think if we understand why we're doing something, right, the trust the process, I think it helps to create better buy-in. And I think that goes a long way in creating not just that physical balance of I have to, we're in the weight room this morning, we're training, I've got classes, but that mental and emotional, I understand why I'm doing this. I understand the benefits. I may not see them right now, but I trust that my teammates, my coaches, we're all in this together, trying to become not just a better soccer program, but better people along the way and prepare for life after college. I mean, and then on campus, we have a student success center. So plenty of resources from tutors to career advice. One of the things that I'm still learning about, but I've had a great experience so far in my 2 months here, is the connections and the involvement of our alum. They love the college, they love the program. Um, and I think that is one of the most underutilized resources. You graduate here and you have, a connection that maybe works in the same field that you're looking to get into, whether it's getting you a job, an internship, or just offering advice on, hey, here was my path to success. I think our alum base are going to be great role models, great advisors for our current and future student athletes.
Awesome. Well, one question and that it popped up as I was talking to Clarion as well, because they've kind of had the same thing now. They are like one leg of a three-legged stool of Penn West, and it looks like Lock Haven is one leg of a three-legged stool of the Commonwealth University of Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
So what exactly does that mean? Does it have any real benefits or, you know, detriments of being part of that? What have you seen in that regard?
Yeah. I won't pretend to be an expert on all of the benefits, but my understanding is, we are first and foremost, we are still, Lock Haven Soccer. We are our own brand and identity, the same as any of our athletic programs at any of the three campuses. Um, but my understanding is, being part of this tri-campus Commonwealth, um, it provides more opportunities from an academic standpoint for all of our students. The opportunities to take classes at other colleges and or online within the Commonwealth. Um, and it helps to keep the cost of tuition down. Um, I I don't know offhand if it's 3 or 4 years now, but tuition at Lock Haven has been about $7,700. And if a student has a 3.8 or a 4.0, at least last year, an in-state student, they automatically earned $5,000 in academic scholarship, dropping their tuition to around $2,700. So I think that the benefits are for the student, not just the student athletes, but the students see the benefits from a financial standpoint, as well as the opportunity for more academic offerings.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's fast forward a couple months here. Let's put it right in October, heart of the conference season. Real quick, just walk me through what you see a typical week looking like for a player in terms of when his practice, classes, meals, the game cadence, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Our conference, as you mentioned, you've had a couple conversations now with PSAC coaches. Our schedule is pretty much Wednesday, Saturday. Because we're divided east and west. We bigger conference, we have home and aways with all of our opponents. And so I like that. It gives a very professional feel. It's the EPL, Bundesliga, right? You're expected to get points at home and you're hoping to steal points on the road. Um, because of the Wednesday, Saturday breakdown, we train in the evenings. I like to train in the evenings, knowing that we're typically going to play our games in the evenings. So from that kind of internal clock, I think it makes sense. Our training sessions are scheduled for 90 minutes. Monday is probably the most intense session of the week. Tuesday is the day before a game. So we're going over our opponent scouts. We're playing some competitive games. We're working on some positional development specific to that game. Wednesday's game day. Thursday is a combination of recovery for players that maybe played, you know, 60, 70 plus minutes. For the other players, it's maintaining sharpness, and we're still together and involved. It just means maybe slightly less reps for the players who are doing, more of an active recovery from the game. Friday's the day before a game again. Um, Saturday's game day, and Sunday's typically our off day.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the team. Obviously, you said you've got the GA there to help you with, but what other support staff maybe work within the athletic department that help out with the team and kind of what are their roles?
Oh, yeah, I mean, from our athletic training staff, sports information, we have our game day operations manager, our senior women's advisor. I mean, the staff have been fantastic, just helping me get acclimated to all the different policies and procedures. Without them, I'd be lost in my 2 months. The men's soccer coach, Patrick Long, he's been here, I think, going into his eighth season now. Um, he's been fantastic. Where our offices are right next door, so we're constantly talking about, how we can improve the experience for our student athletes, not just on the field but off the field as well. And I someone said it years ago, or at least I heard it years ago, right? That the best coaches are thieves, and so I've already had thought about, gosh, okay, when can I watch Patrick's training? Our football is back on campus, field hockey. If I can take some time to steal, some stuff from those coaches, just observe their trainings. Um, we're all housed in the same office or wing, excuse me. And so I've already, had quite in-depth conversations with a number of coaches in other sports, to just try to become, a better coach for the student athletes. So the one thing I am not concerned about is, being able to problem solve with other coaches. Again, soccer or otherwise. There are a lot of coaches here who've been at Lock Haven, proud alum for a number of years now. So yeah, the support services for our student athletes, honestly, the least of my concerns.
That's good. Always good. Well, what about you as a coach? What's the style of play you're looking to play there? What kind of things are you looking to implement on the field?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is I want people who compete. I want competitors. Um, the style that I like to play, I refer to as possession with an emphasis on attacking. Um, like I'm like 95% of the coaches out there. I would love to play a beautiful game and complete 15 and 20 passes before, scoring a worldie. But the reality is that the more time, if we talk about building out of the back, right? The more time that we spend trying to connect passes in our own half, the percentages get higher for the likelihood of a turnover or a mistake. So, no, I don't want to just kick the ball 60 yards and chase. But if we can build out and get into the midfield, get into our forwards in 3 or 4 passes, then let's get into the middle third. Let's play forward a little more than we do back or side to side. Um, I've said this to a handful of people now, and I think goalkeepers especially maybe, roll their eyes at me, but I'd rather win a game 5-2 than 1-0. I like the attacking side of the game. I also think for the players, whether you're the 11 on the field or the players on the sideline, I find that game to be a more exciting. Players, I think, are more invested versus, hey, we're going to park the bus, we're going to play in a low block and just counterattack all day. There's certainly a time and a place for those tactics. Um, but the style that I want to play is going to be an attacking minded style. We're going to get numbers forward. We're going to take chances and we're going to trust that our defenders, our goalkeepers, our midfielders, are going to work to mitigate some risk.
Okay. Well, Coach, you've been super generous with your time. I got one last question for you, and that is, if you had one piece of advice or something you feel all recruits should know about going through this crazy college soccer recruiting journey, what would that be?
Um, Everyone talks about finding the right fit. I think that's the foot in the door. I think the best piece of advice that I was ever given and that I try to give is forget about fit. Yeah, it's the foot in the door. You need to figure out, can that college provide the experience you're looking for? Academic experience, athletic experience, and even a social experience from the class sizes, campus size, location, because there are dozens, hundreds of schools that, oh, it's the athletic fit or it's the academic fit I'm looking for. But can that nursing program, can that PT program, can that law program provide the experience you're looking for? So that would be my advice is dive deeper into the experience that that school can potentially provide.
100% agree. Well, Coach, really appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck here in this first conference season. And if you get down to ECNL event down here, Lakewood Ranch, in January, let me know and we'll get together. All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.